Welcome back to the Political Hour here on Bronc Radio. And we have candidates here running for the Democratic nomination for the 92nd District Court. A very interesting, lively debate going on right now. So let's go ahead and continue. We'll start first with Ms. Singleterry. And the next question is going to be, what will the challenge be, in your opinion, with the 92nd District Court once you're elected?
The challenges?
Yes.
Well, I think every day would pose new challenges. Every case poses different challenges. Every case is unique. You know, when you've been practicing long enough, you start to realize that every case, whether it's a family law case, whether it's a criminal case, whether it's a civil case, carries its own unique, set of facts and factors and parties and whatnot. I believe that that's going to be probably one of the challenges, is to try to maintain a balance. It's not an easy job to do, to try to have the right outcome each and every time. As you well know, every time people step into a courtroom, the majority of the time, one party prevails, the other side does not. The way you take care of that issue, I think, is simply by doing what I've been doing, for the last 10 years, again, as a judge. You try to treat everybody fairly. You make sure that everybody is treated equally. And at the very least, what people should expect from their judges when they walk into a courtroom is to be treated with respect and with dignity. Those are very simple things that one can, as a judge, can do to at least make sure that everybody, when they walk out of your courtroom, feels like they were treated fairly. People are intimidated to walk into courtrooms. People are uncomfortable. Even when people show up for jury duty, people have this sense of nervousness. I know I sense that from people that walk into our courtroom here in the city of FAR. And I think it's very important that we at least do that. It is a challenge to make sure that people walk out, leave, and feel like they were, given a fair shake. So that's probably one of the more difficult things to do, is to make sure everybody feels like they were treated fairly.
Thank you. Mr. Ortiz, same question.
Well, I don't think I'm going to have any challenges in terms of the cases because of my experience, and by that I mean I don't think there's going to be any type of case that I would show up in that court that I would not be familiar with, so that would not be as much of a challenge. Also, my experience as a mediator, like I stated, I was the second mediator in the Rio Grande Valley, not just in Hidalgo County. As a mediator, and I think Mr. Wise is a mediator, you have to deal with people's emotions and issues, so you go beyond the law. So that in itself would not pose a challenge to me because I've dealt with people my whole life. I started my career with legal aid, helping people that were poor, not being able to pay for divorces or evictions or employment cases. So the challenge to me is not going to be the cases or dealing with people. The challenge to me is going to be administration. I come from a business background. One of many things that I've done is own businesses along with Mr. Wise. I believe he started a Subway in Weslaco, and I started a Baskin Robbins in McAllen and Weslaco. I think most people like ice cream over sandwiches, but in any event, the business experience is important because administration is important. You have to administer the courtroom. You have to move the cases, and I'm going to move the cases by making decisions. I'm not the type of person that does not make decisions, and I'm not going to take things under advisement. I'm not going to, grant motions for continuance. That sort of thing. And I think the administration to me is a challenge. But coming from a business background, I think that will help me move the cases and have civil lawyers have their cases heard first. Criminal cases could be heard last. There's no reason why criminal cases should be heard first. It takes up a lot of time away from the lawyers and the parties that are involved in the courtroom. So my challenge is going to be in the administration, not in the cases. Thank you, Omar.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Mr. Wise, the same question.
Thank you very much. I agree with Ray in that I don't see any challenges. If you've been practicing law long enough, you've seen quite a bit, and you've probably seen almost everything. Of course, now and then some will pop up where it may be different, but generally you've pretty much seen and had experience with all the aspects of the law. Certainly, Ray is right. My wife and I did open the first Subway restaurant in the Valley. It was actually in Brownsville. We had 4 franchises, and when I got elected to the legislature, my wife said, "Well, you got 3 little boys. I can't watch them while you're in Austin." So we ended up selling the stores, and she stayed home and took care of the kids until they were old enough, and she went back to work. But administration is always an issue. But if you have a successful law practice, Ray's got a successful law practice. I've got a successful law practice. I presume Mr. Singletary has a successful law practice. But if you have a successful law practice, managing and administering your staff is not a difficult issue. When I separated, as I mentioned, from the military, I was an S1 battalion staff officer. That's the administrative officer for an entire battalion. That's 622 men and women. I don't think I'll have a problem with administration. I don't think it'll be a challenge. But certainly, the issue is not necessarily your staff necessarily as much as having to deal with 800 lawyers in Hidalgo County that are making demands on you and your staff to get their cases moving along. So if you run your court properly, that should not be an issue.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next question. Please name at least 3 of your top big endorsements, any political figures, mayors, anybody, and we'll start with Mr. Ortiz.
Political endorsements, there's endorsements from all over. The city of Mercedes, mayor's behind me, city of Edinburgh, city of McAllen. But really, to me, the endorsements come from the people. I have, if someone asked me last week about my contributors list, and I told them, look at the contributors list. They come from all walks of life. And what I'm proud of, much more, I think, than any political endorsement, are the people's endorsements. I'm a pet advocate. I represent the Humane Society, and as far as I know, I'm the only pet lawyer in the valley. You've heard of the pet detective, but I represent animals. And so the pet lovers are a big group, and that's an endorsement, a big endorsement. I ride motorcycles in my spare time. I've been riding for 40 years. So the group of motorcyclists are behind me. The realtors are behind me. So there's a vast array, different groups that are endorsing me, that are helping me with this campaign, and that's what I love about campaigning.
Thank you. Mr. Singletary.
Well, let's see, where do I start? The city of Sullivan and all its elected officials have endorsed me. Peñitas, Palmview, La Jolla, the La Jolla School District, Mission, City of Mission, the City of FAR, the PSJA School Board, Ed Couch, ELSA, the Ed Couch ELSA School Board and the City of Wesco and the City of Donna are 3 that I'm having meetings with here shortly. I don't know, I'm sure I'm missing a few here and there. City of San Juan, City of Alamo have some endorsements there. I have the vast majority of all the elected officials in this county's, the representatives in our area, state reps, are behind me. I will get those endorsements will become official here in the near future. I think that's indicative of the type of person that I am. These people know me personally. I've known many of these individuals, some for just a few weeks, few months. A lot of them I've known for years. I think the one thing that speaks, more highly of what, of people that are supporting me is that the majority of the lawyers in Hidalgo County are supporting me. I've been endorsed by the majority of them. I've received financial contributions from a lot of them, and I think that's indicative of what these lawyers want to see in the 92nd District Court. You have to keep in mind that the people who primarily deal with judges and the courthouse on a daily basis are the lawyers. And the fact that the majority of the lawyers down here at the courthouse are behind me, I think should send out a clear message as to what it is that they want to see in the courthouse, and the voters of Hidalgo County should take that into consideration as well. That and the fact that almost every city in this county has endorsed me in some form or fashion.
Thank you, Mr. Singletary. Mr. Wise.
Well, I think making a statement that all the lawyers, a majority of the lawyers endorse a candidate, I think is somewhat out of line. I have not seen endorsement pages. I have not seen signed endorsement pages. I have not seen a poll from the Hidalgo County Bar Association endorsing any candidate. To say that you're liked by lawyers, I think all 3 of us are liked by lawyers. But certainly, you can get on my website, www.wiseforjudge.com, and the proof's in the pudding. You get on there and you'll see Precinct 1 Commissioner A.C. Coed endorsing me. His endorsement signed is on my website. Our constable, Celestino Avila, he's on there. I know he mentioned the mayor of Elsa. If you look on my website, his endorsement page is there that he signed it, and it's Alonso Perez. You have a commissioner from Ed Couch, Alicia Segura. Get on the website, there she is. The mayor of San Juan, San Juanita Sanchez. You get on my website, there's her picture and there's her endorsement page. You see the city of Mercedes, Henry Hinojosa, the mayor. You get on my website, you see his picture, you see my endorsement page. So the proof's in the pudding. We can sit here all day long and say everybody endorses us, and until you can actually see that, then I think you can represent to the general public that they endorse you. But until you see those, I think it's just wishful thinking.
Thank you. Mr. Singletary, 30-second rebuttal.
I have all those endorsements signed as well. I also have an endorsement signed by Al Perez, the mayor of Elsa. So I don't know how that happened, that he endorsed two candidates, but I have those two. I'd like to post them if people care to see them. But more importantly, I will be running some political ads here in the near future. We'll have a listing of all my endorsements, including some law enforcement unions and other unions here locally as well.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to, oh, yes, rebuttal.
Thank you, Omar. Rey Ortiz again. Yes, I think it's a pretty bold statement to say that the majority of lawyers are behind you. I don't know where that poll came from. I think Mr. Wise is correct. I think we all have our supporters. If you look at my contributors list, you'll find a large number of lawyers, from civil lawyers to criminal lawyers, supporting me as well. So that's what I wanted to say and inform your listeners.
Thank you very much for that. We're going to move on to the next question here, and this question is actually going to be about the top donors for your campaigns. And we will begin with Mr. Singletary. In the Monitor a few weeks ago, there has been an article written about the campaign funds that have been raised from each of your campaigns, and you lead in the top fundraising for this campaign. The question is, one, name 3 of your top contributors to your campaign, and the same for everybody. And does money really make a difference in the campaign? So you'll have 2 minutes to speak.
The majority of my donors and those that have, in the higher amounts are all lawyers. The majority of them, I guess, an individual can donate up to $2,500 to any candidate. I have numerous of those. Again, I think that there's a couple of reasons why that is so. One, because we work very hard in our campaign. We have a great core group of people, volunteers, people who are, permanent members of our staff who work tirelessly to try to make these things happen. I've never run for office before. This is all new to me in terms of campaigning. I know I spoke with Mr. Wise some time back, and he's indicated to me that this is the 8th time that he runs for office. The fact that I was the highest fundraiser, again, to me and to the listeners, should be indicative of the fact that this is what our community wants. These people know me. They know me as a person. They know me as a lawyer. They know me as a judge. The fact, and they can dispute the fact that the lawyers are supporting me all they want if they want to. That's their right to do so. But the numbers speak for themselves. The amount of money that I've been able to raise has come from a lot of different attorneys, and again, that's indicative because that's of what it is that they want. If they didn't want you there, they wouldn't be supporting you. And does money make a difference? These campaigns are expensive. There's a lot of things that need to be paid for, a lot of advertising and such, a lot of people that work, for candidates. So it adds up in a hurry. It's always appreciated, and we're very grateful. I'm sure these two gentlemen are very grateful, to their donors. But having money, available to make all these expenses, of course, it helps. It's not the only thing, because I can assure you that voters of Hidalgo County are not going to allow these positions to be bought. They're going to vote for the best qualified candidates.
Thank you, Mr. Singletary. Same questions to Mr. Wise.
Thank you, Omar. My 3 largest donors, I think, are businessmen and women. That's all I can say. I mean, they're folks that get up every morning, don their suits, don their dresses, and go to work and earn a living. And to say that those are my 3 largest donors says a lot. Again, going back, and I hate to keep harping on Mr. Singletary, but he keeps going back to this topic. There's over 800 lawyers in this county, and unless he's gotten money from over 400 of them, which is more than 50%, I think there's 880 lawyers, then I think it's pretty bold to come on your show and say the majority of the lawyers endorse me.
Okay. We're going to go with Mr. Ortiz and then Mr. Singletary for rebuttal. Same question for you for 2 minutes, Mr. Ortiz.
I haven't looked at the contributors list as to who are the top donors, but I'm sure that there are business people as well and some lawyers that all met the $2,500 limit. Because I agree with Mr. Wise, my support is broad-based, and I don't think you can equate being the top money maker to anything. Who knows who's supporting a particular candidate and what they're doing to get that money. But my vast majority of contributors, are, like I said in the paper, come from all walks of life. And but if you're talking about the top three, I'm sure they're all business people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ortiz. A 30-second rebuttal to Mr. Wise's response. Mr. Singletary.
All of this is public record. Get online, you see the list of contributors, the amount that's been contributed. I have plenty of donors who have donated small amounts of money. People, everyday folks, people that have nothing or are familiar with the legal environment, the courthouse or lawyers in general. People from all walks of life. These are folks, again, who believe in me, who want to support me, and because I've been doing a good job, they believe that I will continue to do a good job for the citizens of this county.
Thank you, Mr. Singletary. We're going to take a quick break here on the Political Hour, and we'll have more with the candidates for the Democratic primary for the 92nd District Court here on Bronc Radio.